Thank you, everyone, for joining this DigiShares webinar on the tokenization of alternative assets. We're not going to be talking about the usual alternative assets you hear of, like private equity funds or that kind of thing, but we're going to talk about some maybe more unusual use cases and very interesting and unique use cases, such as the tokenization of coffee or whiskey and other interesting use cases of DigiShares clients today. So we're gonna kick off this this webinar with a short intro by Klaus Skoning, who's our CEO and founder, just on an overview of the industry and updates from our side. So Klaus, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and welcome to everyone. And it's a pleasure to host another webinar here today focused on alternative assets, as Gabriel has described. It's not just, all of it is not just real estate. There are definitely other very interesting asset classes that we see increasingly, I would say, from our clients. So there's a lot of imagination, a lot of really interesting use cases that are being developed, and I think will be really successful, and also very different from real estate on a number of interesting parameters, such as not being securities in many cases. So, of course, DigiShares is very briefly about us. We are a provider of a white label platform that allows anyone to tokenize any kind of asset, really, end-to-end solution that can manage the entire process, onboard investors, facilitate the investment in crypto and fiat, manage all the compliance, share cap table, shareholder meetings, distributions, the dividends, and so on, and also facilitate trading. Highly customizable, configurable, many configuration options. You can use it out of the box, get it up and running in just a few weeks. You can also deeply integrate it and modify everything the investor sees. And you can use it in most countries, right? Many countries at least. So we have a network of many legal firms across the world, helping to facilitate compliance for these projects. We have clients in more than 40 countries now, so it's a global movement, global development of tokenization, I would say. And most recently, we have seen quite an uptick in the number of customers or clients contacting us, interested in getting started with tokenization. So there's definitely a lot of an increased interest after the new year, and sort of with the crypto winter hopefully being over with by now. In addition to the white label platform that we sell as a normal software company, we are also launching an exchange called realestate.exchange. The expectation is to launch this in Q3 in the US, later next year in Europe, and possibly also in the UAE. We are considering right now to license it in Dubai. We're speaking to the different regulators that could make it possible for us to get in the air a little bit faster, especially with the more advanced versions of the exchange. But most likely, the plan is that we are going to launch in Q3 in the US this year. And right now we are soliciting MOUs, so we're signing up clients to be listed from the beginning. So if you are interested in this, reach out to us and we'll sign you up. Otherwise, I will not say so much more, except that to mention that we are going to Consensus in Austin in May. So if you are around, definitely let's meet up and have a discussion. I'm also personally in Dubai, both in the middle of May and the middle of June, and happy to meet with anyone around in that period of time. Especially in the middle of June, we have the World Token Summit there, where we give a masterclass, and would be welcome anyone to come and watch. That's it for me, and thank you very much, and enjoy the webinar.
Thank you, Klaus. So before we hand it over to our first guests, just wanted to tell everyone that you can participate in the Q&A. You'll see at the bottom of your screen a Q&A section. Please ask questions, and we'll probably answer most of those in the fireside chat at the end. So don't worry if your question was not immediately answered by the guest, we'll keep it for the fireside chat. So yeah, I mean, let's get started. Our first guests are from dotted.eu. We've got Norbert Palfavli, CEO, and Tamas Toth, financial expert. Guys, the floor is yours.
Thank you for the introduction. Welcome everyone. Let me quickly share my screen. We prepared with a quick presentation for you. Okay, can you see it, Norbert?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay.
So hello guys, good morning, good afternoon. So it's basically as you see each morning and each afternoon, millions of people, it's working, commuting between home and the office. So it's the basic idea about the mobility and the shared mobility based on my customer problem. So I don't want to own anymore the car, or I don't want anymore own any vehicle. Preferably, I would need one service. I would need one app when I can subscribe a small electric vehicle for daily commuting. If I go to family vacation, I would need one minibus. Or if I go to the weekend only just explore our region, I would need the small e-bike. So that is the basic idea. That was the shared mobility idea. Can you step forward, Tamas?
Yeah.
So as you see here, and as you see around your cities, we have many hassle, many problems, essentially based on the car-centric urban design. Lot of road, lot of traffic, lot of parking spots, and this is not the best for the humans. So we need more garden, we need more green area, we need more parking space. So it's especially for the climate change, we have seen much more rain, much more storms. So we are all of us, it's affected. And as you see, yesterday we had a big storm in Dubai. So it's a little bit strange. So we have to change our habits. We have to change our cities. So that is the main topic of the shared mobility, and especially in the citizen point of view, we have around 15-20% of our budget it's spent to mobility. So it's really big portion. Next, please. So especially as the name of customer is come from the customer and the owner, and we are facing the issue as startup about the financing. But based on the tokenization solution, that is a really good and efficient solution to involve people and investors from all around of the world. So it's a really good solution. Next, please. And Tomas will explain much more in the tokenization in the solution in the next slides. But as you know, the tokenization has many lot of advantage to digital asset as investment solution also. Next, please. So as you see here, based on the shared mobility, on the mobility as a service, it's based on the application, we can have the full service. So it's the seamless shared mobility from rent and booking the vehicles until the seamless automatic invoicing and the complete dashboard about the fleet. So that is the basic idea about the technology for the basic shared mobility. Next, please. But as you see here, based on the app, we can have the full service, what we can manage the complete fleet. Next, please. So it's based on the mass, we can have different use cases, like a traditional digital car rental, or we could provide this for the corporates like internal fleet sharing. But that can be used for the one-way rental also. So it's based on the app, we can have different services. Next, please, Tamas. So, for example, as you see here, if we provide one project for a small suburban area or communities or the cities, we can put e-bikes and charger locking station, a small EV or different vehicles in the fleet. So it's different diversified fleets can be in the project to tokenized. Next, please.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the tokenization part that I would like to dig deeper a little bit, but I don't want to talk too much about the benefits of reverse asset tokenization now, as many of you are probably familiar with it. But let's mention a few things about it and how these benefits are reflected in the customer ecosystem. So our tokenization model allows fractional ownership, making investment in shared mobility assets easier for both individuals and communities. This not only decentralized transportation investment, but also promotes community ownership and responsibility, boosting user engagement and also royalty. So, have you ever thought about being the owner of a rental vehicle and profiting from the rent you pay for it? So customer makes this possible. We have developed a business model that utilizes blockchain technology and tokenization to its fullest, while promoting shared mobility and sustainable transport at the same time. So in our platform, each token represents a portion of ownership in the asset and can be bought or sold, allowing for fractional ownership and easier transfer of the ownership at the same time. So in this short presentation, I hope this encouraged many of you to join our initiative and platform. So please join us and let's build a borderless shared mobility network together. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Tamas and Norbert. I see a couple of questions in the Q&A, one about regulation, which we'll definitely answer in the fireside chat with everyone. Oh, there was another one that just disappeared. But Norbert answered directly in the Q&A. So someone asking if they could partner with you. Yeah. Great. Thank you for the presentation. So we'll move on to the next guests from Ubuntu International Group, Pieter Coetzer. The floor is yours.
And the screen has been shared now?
Not yet, but we can hear you and see you.
Okay, oh, there we are. I beg your pardon. Welcome, everybody. Bear with me for 1 second. Just get, oh, it's now all that stuff at the top is, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Now, where do I need to get going on? Oh, there we are. Now I can get that. Sorry about that. Still learning how to do this. Hello, everybody. My name is Pieter Coetzer, and I'm privileged to present to you details on the Ubuntu African Art Fund, which is a diversified and tokenized fund, which I present to you on behalf of Long Live Africa Art. Real quick, Ubuntu is an African concept that means, in the words of the late Bishop Desmond Tutu, I am because we are. We are together in one place. We are together as one people, and I am because we are. Now, the opportunity is what we'll discuss, as well as how do the villages from which this art comes benefit, which is a very important consideration for us. I will also talk a little bit about the fund structure, and I will give you reasons to believe in investing in African ancient art. Now, there is a portfolio of some 50 different collections. The collections have been developed over hundreds of years, and to a large extent have been ones that were, I beg your pardon, let me just go back. What happened here? That had been developed during the time of slavery. And an interesting facet of this is that there are laws in some of these countries that people from original slave trading nations may not directly purchase this art. We have verified the provenance in every case, and we have also done carbon testing to prove that these are actually ancient and old collections. There also is a full process initiated by UNESCO and the International Council of Museums that verifies the origin and the legality of the collections. So all those problems that there were with removing the art without the permission of the people have been taken care of. The people are enthusiastically participating. An interesting facet of African art is that the pricing in the market at present is modest compared to, say, buying what a Rembrandt or a Vermeer or something. And there is considerable opportunity for upside because of the interest shown by museums and by high-value collectors. Of course, with tokenization, we have full blockchain security, and your piece of the process is fully secured. I believe this is an excellent alternative asset group which can provide you with some very good alternative means of regarding your investments. Now, here are some pictures of what this art looks like. This fellow here on the left is from 1500 BC. It is from a group which no longer exists. They've all died out. So it's a very interesting collection. Here are the Bamoon soldiers, which are in my possession. I'm very reluctant about giving them up. They look so good. And here are two others, and I have 72 collections with over 400 pieces available, of which we will probably put about 50 of the collections into the fund in terms of a structure that we have developed together with our lawyers. Now, how do the villages from where the art comes benefit from this? These are all poor people in the areas of the country where there's hardly any tarred roads, for example. There are problems with electricity and many other things. Many of the villages don't have schools. So we've done a deal with Wholesome and 14 Trees, their charity, and using 3D printing to construction, we can build a school in 25% of the time at 50% of the cost with conventional construction methods. Every school will have internet through Starlink, and they also will have access to online learning, which we are doing in conjunction with IIHT from India. They also gain electricity because we will put up small, relative to them, because these villages are 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people each, so one can very easily put together a solar plant that can give them actually 24/7 electricity. They have water problems there, and so we will give them clean water. And we will also, there are some very interesting innovations in the management of waste, because, you know, often the waste from the village, the human waste, pollutes the village, and hence the way to get that done is through a system that has been developed and which is marketed and given to us by the Gates Foundation on very favorable terms. And finally, through a group of doctors who are part of our team, we will, again with the Gates Foundation's help, provide vaccination against malaria and other tropical diseases, which of course is rife in that area. So we believe that not only are we giving these villages money, we also have the privilege of really improving their life, and that is something I'm grateful for to be part of. Now, the fund structure, and this is a tokenized fund. The Ubuntu Art Fund is a tokenized fund created to offer tokens to investors on the DigiShares platform through exempt securities offerings in various countries, and Klaus has dealt with that very well. The tokenized fund is held in an incorporated, segregated account of Ubuntu International Group Limited. Ubuntu International is a private equity fund located in Mauritius, and it is subject to the laws of Mauritius as a protected cell company, which is a very interesting solution in terms of international funding, very favorable structure in terms of taxes and other matters as well. We are planning to put together a $250 million fund with 50 investment grade collections, and we project over the next 5 years to have a 4-fold value increase. This picture that you see here gives you an idea of what a fund in Mauritius looks like. If you look at the top half, you'll see that there is very strong custodial and fund administrator and an auditor. Every conceivable regulatory aspect is taken care of. We will have several sub-funds from this fund, one of which will be the Ubuntu Art Fund. The launch date that we expect is 12 June 2024. Our costs are within international standards. There's a 2% management fee, and we only make money when everybody else makes money, and then we get 15% based on certain hurdle rates. We make the minimum investment very low at $1,000, and that gives you 100 units. I beg your pardon, 1,000 units at $1 per unit, and investor qualifications you can see there for yourself. Why African art? Collecting African art for your investment, it gives you a unique and enriching opportunity. These are authentic artworks. We understand the market trends. We've been working on this for several years now. We've built strong relationships, and we give you a chance to do your legacy planning, and you can build a valuable collection that celebrates African culture. And as you know, Africa is the continent of the future. Young people, many, the youngest, best. If you look at Pieter Zion's story on population, Africa is the place to be in the future. Now, we have a call to action. I have a special pre-release offer for intending investors. Buy 1,000 tokens at the pre-release price of 50 cents, and you will get a free 100 tokens in Ubuntu private equity as well as a gift from us. We want you to secure the purchase with a deposit of 5 cents per unit, and then the rest will follow from there. Of course, there will be full contractual obligations, and you will have full, plain and true disclosure on all aspects. My dear cousin of the same name has in the meantime posted these links into the chat, so you can have all of them there. There is my email address, petercoetzer@outlook.com, and this link is a download of the offer that we are making as a pre-release call to action. I say to you, thank you very much for this opportunity and for the honor to be a part of this team, and may God bless all of you, and may we do well in future. Amen.
Thank you, Pieter, for this presentation. We are going to move to the next guest from Equalazia do Brasil, Sergio Mazzotti. The floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. I'm sorry because you don't see me very well, as far as I understand. Check time. Okay. Then I would like to present you to present our project here by showing you a video speech I created. But a few words before, just to emphasize what the basic idea we had. We had, first of all, the idea to create a token. Based on that token, then we created assets. So we offer to buy assets by using our token. That means that you make a double investment. You invest in the asset itself and the token behind. So at the certain point of view, you can even try to take your token and sell it on the market. So the double investment in one. So that is the idea behind. So what we are doing here, as I told you, first of all, we created this token, then. The then is a combination of two English words. Then is a refuge, is a cave, and Eden is a paradise. So the idea is we sell you your refugee in our paradise. The paradise is an island, and in this island there is a resort. So what we are going to do, we are offering you to sell. We want to sell you 1 up to 4 maximum weeks based on multi-annual plans, 2, 5, 10 years. So you can decide to rent this bungalow, as I was telling you before, the bungalow for 1 up to 4 weeks, and choose the plan, 2, 5, 10 years. So then you will see immediately, you understand immediately that there are a multiplication of factors. So the number of assets proposed is huge because we have 10 bungalows, we have 54 weeks per year, 52 weeks per year, and then you can imagine how many assets, single asset we have created thanks to the tokenization. The token is one, but the number of token purchase gives you the access to the plan you have decided to choose. And that is for the tourism. And then what we did, we purchased a huge farm in a very beautiful area in the Chapada Diamantina here. It's almost like, let me say, Grand Canyon in the States, but instead of very green. So there is what we call Mata Atlantica, native Atlantic Mata. It's the forest. Keep in mind that in Brazil, we have the 40% of all plant forests are here in Brazil. And of course, they are under attack because the majority of the Mata Atlantica, which was 100% at that time, many years ago, now has been reduced to 12.4%. So our project is aiming to try to, for our little portion, to stop deforestation by buying forests and use them. And then I tell you later on why, how. So the first idea was we purchased this farm. It's almost 435 hectares, 380 of which are Mata Atlantica, native Mata Atlantica. So it's very old piece of Amazon installed in this area. And the rest is for cultivating. So we cultivate, we produce maize, beans, and we will be replanting coffee. Now we offer you how we do it. So we give you a number of possibilities to invest in what? Be a partner of the property of the farm. So Equalazia is the holding. So you be a part of the holding. So you purchase a share, some share of our holding, and then you participate to the whole project we have. We have a number of projects, so we have a number of type of tokenization different. But the one I've talked already is tourism. This I'm talking now is agriculture. So we are producing stuff that will be sold on the market. And now we offer you, if you are not a partner in the company, we offer you to be a partner in the sale of our product. So we just offer you decide how many hectares of our farm you want to invest, and then you can decide up to a number. So we put it 5 hectares maximum to invest in production, and then we offer you to decide how much portion of the production of this hectare you have chosen you want to invest in. So we give you 25 or 50% of the production of that. And then the last occasion, and then in another asset, we offer you how much profit of the profit result we have if you want to have 20 or 50% of the profit, and these are other assets. So if you combine all these assets together, we have on the table almost 200 assets tokenized with one token only, that is our DEN token. And that is the tourism. But the Mata Atlantic here in Brazil, and most probably every one of you have already heard about it, the carbon credit. Now is every newspaper in the world is talking about the bloody carbon credit. But here, carbon credit are huge business. It's a huge business. Brazil government is talking about billions of reals of value. And in fact, it's true, because having 40% of the planet forest, it's easy to understand why Brazil is pushing to create a structural assistance to participate in the sale of carbon credit. So what we did, we just offer you the same. So we have our farm, but in the farm we have a Mata Atlantica area, 380 hectares. So we offer you to be part of this Mata Atlantica, that you choose up to 10 hectares, and then we do the same as before for the product. So we offer you we have been already certified by a Brazilian company certifying the content of carbon credit per hectares. Our Mata Atlantica is having 137.3, don't remember, hectares carbon credit per hectare. So we have a total of 51,000 carbon credits available. If you look to the price, European price, a bloody carbon credit is costing something like 60, 70 euro. That is not possible according to my opinion. So let's go to the voluntary market carbon credit. And from our side, because we don't care too much about profit in the sense I work for profit, I don't work for profit. We need profit, but I don't work for it. I want to put my ideas on table and make it. So the idea is we will share this profit not only to the owner that the Mata Atlantica who have sold to me the Mata Atlantica of him without knowing the story about carbon credit, but we will tell him after he have sold, as he did, we tell him, please come back to us and be a partner, virtual partner, because you don't have anything, but we provide you with a percentage of the global profit made by carbon credit. So the idea is compensation, the deforestation, the huge deforestation going on here in Brazil. We try to do our best. The area is a splendid area. It's like, as I told you before, like a canyon, a green canyon, a huge green canyon. Area of Mata Atlantica, there are many people. They do not know anything. They just want to sell because they get rid of it. And if say a guy was carrying agricultural product production, of course he will be buying. He has a permission by law to deforest up to 80% of the forest. So you can imagine what the hell is here in Brazil. So they are talking about carbon credit, but they still allowed you to deforest your area up to 80%. And that's our fight. That is not possible, because if you keep going, Mata Atlantica will be dead in some decades. So the idea is keep doing this, sell carbon credit with the money of carbon credit, buy other Mata Atlantica and preserve it. The idea is to make a big park, green park, and then in this area, by the way, the tallest trees are more than 25-30 meters high. So one of our associates is a biologist, florestal biologist. The idea we have also, and this is our type of asset, we will make NFT arboreal NFTs. The idea is to categorize all the tall trees we have in this area, in this matter, and then we will make a database with a single, with each of them categorized and described, picture everything. We make a small plate, we put on the trunk of the tree, and we indicate that is a arboreal NFT. So it's not a piece of art; it's a piece of nature. And then we ask you, please give me whatever you want, 1 real, 10 real, $1, up to you to decide, but try to help us in maintaining this preserved area for life. So we will make a green park that will be categorized officially from the government, will be untouchable. So all the area we will invest, we will make a special, there is a special plan here in Brazil to make this reservation official. Nobody will be a crime if you touch this. So we are doing this.
Thank you.
So this is everything. Sorry to be, we have not had the possibility to show you this, but it's okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergio. Really appreciate it. I'm sure there will be questions in the fireside chat.
Yeah.
So please do stay with us.
Okay.
Next speaker is from Fair Isles Distillery, Christian. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I will share my presentation here. Thanks for being able to join this. Is my presentation visible to all?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I will speak about how we, Fair Isles Distillery, are disrupting, the whiskey business, which is an old business by now, by incorporating blockchain tokenization technology directly into the business model. My name is Christian Grahn, and I am one of the co-founders of Fair Isles Distillery. I am myself a native of the Faroe Islands. I don't know if you guys know where it is, but it's high up in the north, and the climate is very similar to what you would have in Scotland. It's a little bit north. So the conditions for making whiskey are ideal. So we thought that it might be a good idea. We were 4 or 5 friends, actually, that had this plan for many years. We are whiskey lovers ourselves. So we thought that there might be an opportunity to actually start a whiskey distillery on the Faroe Islands, because the weather conditions and the surroundings are perfect for that. So we started, and then, of course, the first question would be, how do we finance this project? It costs a lot of money to build the production facilities. It has to be some certain pot stills and stuff like that before you can call it really whiskey. So, and also the second problem is that it takes some time for the whiskey to mature. It takes 3 years at least before you can call it whiskey. So in the beginning, at least the first 3 or maybe 4 years, you would be pretty low on cash. The first step we did was that we actually created a founders club where we invited people to become a founders club member. And beside from a lifelong membership, they would also receive a special edition of gin, which is made via some specialities locally from the islands, and then the first edition whiskey after 3 years. And this was primarily to obtain the necessary funding to actually go into the planning of the rest of the project. And it was quite successful. We had actually 1,100 people worldwide signing up to our Founders Club. Second step was to raise some equity, because we needed some equity in order to actually start everything rolling. And we were looking at solutions at that time. This is back in 2019. And we came across DigiShares because there was also a very, what shall I say, tight correlation with the token, crypto, blockchain. So we decided on actually using DigiShare. These are some of the conditions. And first of all, what we set out to do was to actually start a company, you might say a typical old world company. Whiskey is I think it's a business model that's maybe 1,000 years old, but it's very old fashioned in a way. But how could we somehow incorporate that into 21 or 21st century by utilizing the technology that we have today? And here we thought especially about blockchain and tokenization. So we decided that should be a integral part of our business model. We should integrate it into the way that we made business at FAER Distillery. If you look at the old world, then if you need equity, I mean, yeah, then basically it's a quite cumbersome way of doing it. It's a little bit time consuming actually to go out there and do an IPO or something similar. You don't have to do an IPO, but a prospectus and so on. While if you are using blockchain technology and tokenization, you would then be able not only to get equity, but you could also tokenize the warehouses, the production facilities, and everything that has to do with the real estate part of the business. You could actually go out and tokenize that and then offer that. And also for our part, because whiskey it takes so long time for whiskey to mature in the beginning, that it would also be a very good way of actually tokenizing whiskey casks. It's a normal thing. That's what the whiskey industry has been doing over the last 500 years. Maybe not 500, but at least the last 200-300 years. And it's a way of obtaining cash, liquidity in the beginning of the life of the distillery. And for us, it was quite paramount to actually define the tokenization blockchain infrastructure, and the core of that was actually finding what we call an asset class registry, because we would have, as the business grows and progresses, we would have different kind of asset classes. And for that, DigiShares was actually quite perfect for that, because you can basically fractalize, tokenize any kind of asset within that system and still have a pretty good overview of everything. So for us, it was quite a good fit, because we had the need of equity, and we also had the need for future real estate, because when you have a whiskey distillery, you need to build warehouses in order to store the casks. And over time, because you do not sell the whiskey casks or the whiskey inside the cask, you don't do that. You do that over a period of 3, 5, 10, 12, 15. So there is a long time perspective in this one. That's why you need the warehouses. And also, there would be an opportunity to tokenize the casks themselves. It's as I told earlier, it's a common practice that people are buying casks as an investment, because it's a pretty good yield in whiskey. You can either buy a complete cask, about 200 liters, I think each cask is, or you can buy a fraction of it. And usually the entry fee is quite high. It's around, I think it's around 1,000 euros as it is now. But if you could fractalize it, first of all, you would come out to a much larger audience. Because it's a pretty tight-knit community as it is today. And on the blockchain and the tokenization part itself, since Polygon is quite integrated with DigiShares, then we choose that, okay, let's go with that blockchain. And also for the second-hand trade, we also looked at because one thing is you also need to have some kind of incentive for those who are buying the tokens to be able to trade it. Of course, there's a lot of legal issues there. And then we looked at DigiShares. They have their own for the real estate exchange. And then I'm quite sure in the future there will be something for real world assets in the line of whiskey casks and for other premium spirits. For the Fair Isles Distillery itself, we are a going concern. We have if you see the green stuff here, that's actually what we have done. We raised equity, and we now have around, I think it's 1,000+ investors, and we raised 3.1 million euros over the last 2 years, and we have not tokenized it yet for internal trade, but it's just laying there ready to be tokenized, and that's what the DigiShares platform make us capable of doing. And then we also have some land. We purchased 24,000 square meters of land on the islands, where our intention is to build the warehouses. We actually did build them. We built about half of it, and we financed that with regular banking business, but the other half we will try to finance by tokenizing it and then offer it to investors. And then also for the production facilities, we have financed the entire production as it is now. So now they are producing barrels of whiskey or casks of whiskey, and we are the second largest producer of whiskey now in the Kingdom of Denmark. And as I told you before, then there's always not a credit crunch, but there's a cash flow challenges in the beginning of a whiskey distillery, and that's why we sell off approximately 100 casks per year. And that will lead to approximately 30,000 tokens. That's the plan that we will issue on a yearly basis. And in order to reach as far as possible, then our token prices for these fractions will be around 100 euros. And the 100, I mean, either you trade your tokens, or after 5 years you can just redeem them, as we call it, and then get 3 bottles of whiskey. That's up to you how we want to do it. And we are in the process actually of looking into how we can create the user interfaces and stuff like that up against, and use as much standard technologies like DigiShares and Polygon in order not to get out into a too much technology project. So that's, and then also financing, also that's also in the future, our visitor center, and that will also be tokenized as a real estate token, tradable, and so on. And the message here and the bottom line here is that at Fair Isles Distillery we have completely integrated blockchain and tokenization technology within our business model. This is how, I mean, the alternative is to go to banks or get some more equity and so on, but there's also the third option, which is tokenizing, in this case the casks, or tokenize the warehouses and the visitor center, and then in that way onboard investors, or yeah. So that's basically my message. If you have any questions, then put them forward.
Thank you, Christian. There's actually a question that's very specific to you, so we'll take that one now. And it's changed sections here, but I saw it. Oh yeah, from Juan Pedro, what is the exit strategy for your token holders?
Well, depends on what kind of token they're investing in. Of course, if it's equity, then it's then it's the dividends and so on. If the distillery is sold to one of the big Diageos or LMVH and so on, and on the whiskey casks or the whiskey tokens, the exit strategy is actually, there's two. Either you can trade it within the exchange, or you redeem your whiskey, because I mean, if you look at the yield of whiskey when it's from year 1 to year 5, there's a significant increase. So either you exit your tokens by being on the market, and then at some point, maybe after 2 or 3 years, you would sell it for maybe double or whatever it's worth at that time. Or you just redeem your bottles of whiskey, and then you can sell those physical bottles somewhere else. And there's a substantial increase in the whiskey from year 0 or year 1 to year 5. So that will be the exit strategy, if I understood the question right. The real estate part is obviously, that will be like a traditional real estate. I mean, basically what will happen is that the tokenized, the real estate tokens, there will come a dividend or some kind of profit sharing from the rent of the premises.
Got it. Thank you. And we have another one that's specific to you, I think. Are you using DigiShares to mint your NFTs?
Well, we are not. We are not into the NFTs yet.
Mm-hmm.
We are primarily fractionalizing the whiskey casks. We would probably use an NFT maybe in 5 or 6 years for special whiskeys.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's the ERC 1404. Traditionally, what we will be using.
Right, and for everyone, ERC 1404 is a security token standard, so it's more adapted to securities such as equity, debt, and it has a bunch of characteristics that make it compliant, such as the ability to limit the distribution to only whitelisted wallets, so that have been through KYC. You have different. You can set a lockup period, investor minimum, maximum, and so this is quite different from NFTs. Indeed,
because I mean, for us, I mean, when you are tokenizing 100 barrels, I mean, the token holder must be absolutely sure that there are 100 barrels in any given location, and in order to ensure that, you need a lot of audits on a yearly basis and so on, and that will be on the smart contract. So the token holder will always see, okay, what's the status of this? Is it insured? Is it audited, and so on, before they purchase the token? Not only the first one, but also the second trade.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Christian. We're gonna shift to the fireside chat. So I'll ask you to stop the screen share, and then we can just all turn on our cameras, and we can start with a question that was asked by Christina towards the start of the webinar, but I think it's applicable to everyone, and I wanted to keep it for the fireside chat. So Christina is interested in the regulatory part. How does it work when there isn't legislation in the region of operation of the project or the business of the client, but the tokens are still available for purchase? So maybe a first part of that is, are there any one of you that are in jurisdiction where there wasn't any legal clarity or legislation specific to tokenized securities? And if so, what did they do to solve this issue?
In my opinion, the real question, Gabriel, is what is the regulatory status of the issuer of the tokens? That would be the first question that any prudent investor should ask. If there's no clarity on that regulatory environment, then of course you are taking a big chance. And because you cannot then accept that the right thing will be done. As far as jurisdictions, of course, there's a whole variation of things. There's some jurisdictions where there's nothing at all. And in that case, it doesn't matter. You can buy and own as many as you like. But then there are all sorts of mealy-mouthed expressions and so on in South Africa. For a long time, there's been a debate, is this, what is it? And now our government or our regulatory authority has come out and said it is a financial product and it is regulated under the financial product rules, which then varies. But then in other jurisdictions, there might be nothing, or you come to the United States where everybody is being taken to court by the SEC. So it really depends on where you are and what you're looking for.
So I would actually respond to your last point, Pieter. I think it's important to make a distinction between the world of securities and the world of cryptocurrencies. So in the US, there are indeed lawsuits initiated by the SEC, but those are for cryptocurrencies, which Coinbase and the other major companies are saying are not securities, and which the regulator, the SEC, is saying they are securities.
Right.
So there are some lawsuits on that front, but in the world of securities, where from the very start, everybody knows they're securities, the issuer goes through an SEC exemption, works with lawyers to make sure that it fits within the securities framework. There's no such environment of massive lawsuits, and I'm sure there are a few here and there. I'm not saying that there aren't any at all, but it's very different from what we're seeing in the wider, in the crypto trading space. So
it depends. It very much depends on the extent to which you are willing to obey the rules and play with the rules. If you obey the rules and play with the rules, you don't get a headache. But if you do scoff at the rules, you're going to have a problem.
For sure, and we advise all of our clients to have the right legal counsel and make sure that they respect local securities regulations. Maybe Tamas, so what jurisdiction have you used, and what was your experience with dealing with the regulatory side?
Yeah, it's a tough question. So I think the main problem is that each country has unique regulations, making it challenging to consider, all perspectives. So this complexity involves various roles, such as from operator perspective, token issuer perspective, from retail investor or user perspective. So it's a constant changing environment. And I think the main problem is, so the technology is growing pretty fast. So much, so the regulatory bodies do not have enough time to prepare for the upcoming events. So they are constantly lagging behind, chasing the market, and yeah, it also refers to the question of what are the legal, financial, taxation rules that could apply for the different players in this tokenization or security tokenization processes. So yeah, first of all, I think it's important to state that in my opinion, and also from SEC perspective, many of the tokens that are issued for so real-world asset tokenization projects, huge percentage of this project are classified as security tokens, in my opinion, and based on the how we test, if we make it and if we look at it, I think we need to consider and take into account that there's a huge chance that the token that we issue will be a security. In the EU, the implementation of the MiCA, the markets in crypto assets, it's already taken place in many EU countries, but the main problem is that it doesn't handle either the NFTs, the DeFi, or even the security tokens. So still, as I mentioned, the legal side is lagging behind and trying to chase the market. So if someone is considering to issue a real world asset token, for sure the best if he or she contact a legal counsel and ask their opinion about that. And if it's considered as a security token, probably it will need to meet the requirements of the DLT regime or the MiFID, the Markets in Financial Instruments directive. So yeah, I'm not sure I'm answer the question. It's hard to answer, but I try to give you an overview about the current regulations in the EU. So right now we are yes,
found a way to tokenize in the EU, and we definitely have quite. Christian is also in the EU, so I guess he could also speak a bit about his experience with the regulatory environment.
Yeah, the primary with the regulatory environment in FAER's Distillery case is whenever we did the prospectus, or we had to follow the local rules in EU has, I think Klaus may be better on that one, but when we raised the equity, then I think we had a minimum. If it was below 5 million euros, then you did not have to make a what do you call it, audited prospectus, and the subsequent shares that later would be converted into tokens, they would not be traded. They're only traded within the community of present shareholders. So it's a little bit, as soon as you go outside that realm, then there's a different set of rules.
For sure. And it's similar in the US. There's it depends on whether you're raising from US accredited investors, so basically wealthy investors, non-US investors, or US retail investors. And definitely the most stringent rules are surrounding when you're raising from retail investors, so the smaller investors, which the regulators want to protect more. So yeah, maybe Sergio in Brazil, any insights on how it's working?
I would say here is much easier. Why? Because the local stock exchange already deal with NFTs. So what we are doing, we are connecting to them. So we will handle all our projects via them. So they will support us, giving us all the regulation backup needed in Brazil. So here they are very much advanced in this. They are even, by the way, I found very recently, there is, I will send the link to Klaus. There is a company who is also offering, let me say a platform like ours, But what I have studied this very much indeed. and I have some doubt about the reality of what is written in the site. But what is interesting, what they confirm, that here to do things in the crypto sector, in the asset sector, and everything we do, NFT, must be, sorry, connected to B3, which is the local stock exchange. We are doing this. So whatever they happen in Brazil, we will be covered by them automatically. That means there will be most probably be a cost for this, but at least all the regulation is their problem. There will be not anymore our problem. So if they accept my NFT, it's problem with them. And that's great because I didn't expect Brazil to be so advanced in this sector. So it was a surprise to me as well.
So maybe I'll play devil's advocate here, and maybe I'm wrong, but tell me. But doesn't it complicate things to say that every single issuer of security tokens has to go through the national stock exchange and a process with them?
Yeah, yeah, I agree part with you. Yes, of course, it might be the case, but I believe that what I think is they have invented something because of after that. What you do, you must pay a commission. So if that is the case, they will do everything. Again and again is a question of money. So if they gain money, they do it. So just as a statement, that's why I hate money in principle. So, but it is, in this particular case, if they've done great, provided they can do what they want, that's great. So I do not have yet any let me say, my technical director, my IT manager is dealing with them, and we will be connected. By the way, will be the platform, your platform connected to them, because there will be a direct connection between. We have to understand how to do it, but we will do it because that is what we have talked to them that we are managing via DigiShare platform. So that also will be interesting because there might be the first example, at least here in Brazil, that DigiShare is connected to a stock exchange. So that's the reason why it's underway. We are discussing. I think we had already a first meeting, and they have approved the idea. So they moved up for a couple of weeks, but there will be already a coming meeting in which will be a technical part. My Johnny is my technical director. He will be the one who will be dealing with the technical side of the stock exchange here. So I will inform you. I will keep you informed, of course. In the case of problem, please, I will ask for your help as well.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting jurisdiction. The first time I hear of something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe if we move on, there's been a few questions around the marketing of the tokens and how to find investors. And I see that Christian is currently answering one part of it in writing. But I think it would be interesting to get other participants' advice as well. Maybe Christian, you could kick it off with your feedback on that process of
The marketing wise, I mean, there's a pretty strong whiskey community out there already. And you would see the typical audience would be maybe, I don't know, from the mid-30s to whatever. That's how it is today. It's quite, a mature audience, but so there's a very well established, you might say, communities on various social medias. And that's where we are primarily promoting our tokens, whether be it the equity or the casks or the real estate. The real estate we really have not tried yet, but on the cask side, there's a very positive response, and it's also what shall I say? It's also appealing to a much younger audience that are very accustomed to crypto and tokens and so on, and they are actually onboarded because just being able to see that they have in their wallet a token of a 3-year-old bourbon casks whiskey this and this year. I mean, they're quite intrigued by that. So we can really feel that that there's a lot of response to that from younger people. And of course, the older generation, they're looking into the equity because they see, oh, this might be one of the big ones in 10 years. And also, not also, but on the real estate part, I think it will be the same. You would probably have whiskey enthusiasts primarily investing. So you might say that we're tapping into an existing audience and you know, in the whiskey community. So and we really haven't decided to go beyond that yet. I think we have to prove, you know, the potential yields that we are stating, or that the business, the whiskey business, is stating. And I think whenever people realize that it's a pretty good investment in whiskey tokens, then probably yeah, it will appeal more to them. Huh? Okay.
I like the really targeted approach, and yeah, we always tell clients that, you know, it's not enough to just tokenize to find investors. That's tokenization is just the beginning. It enables you to onboard more easily from around the world, but you still have to do the marketing to actually find the investors.
I completely agree. And also, you know, it's also a way of reaching, you know, you reach a much broader audience, especially these young people who are very much into tokens. But also it's a way of you know, democratizing you know, the financing, in our case, of the whiskey, because, you know, we don't have to or the need for the banks or credit institutions would be less, because you're actually appealing to an already existing audience that actually might like to invest in you, because they will receive some kind of interest or dividend or you know, profit, whatever you want to call it. Huh? So what I think is our approach, the reason why we integrated blockchain and tokenization into our business model, was to tap into that community. And there's a lot of enthusiasts, especially inside whiskey. So there must be similar community and enthusiasts for other businesses.
Very interesting. Pieter, Tamas, Sergio, anything to add on the marketing side, investor acquisition? Maybe, yeah, Pieter, maybe to start.
Yeah, it's going to be a learning process for us. Fortunately, a lot of interest is coming from people who cannot afford to invest in art. And it's very much the same problem as you have with real estate, that only rich people can actually invest in real estate. So here you have something else where I'm at the moment negotiating to sell one of these collections, the Mamoon Soldiers, for around $35 million, which will help enormously with our further development of the whole fund and also of the private equity fund. But the thing is this, that who else can come to the party for that? Because this is very much discretionary expenditure that you put aside, and it doesn't really do anything for you other than you look at the beauty of it. So now, if you can look at this and you have and how are we going to monetize our income is another question that our people have, and what we will do on that score in order to present them. Because, you know, an investor has three questions. Is my principal safe? What's my return? When and how do I get my money back? So the first question is my principal safe? Matter of regulation, matter of honesty, matter of a track record over years. You've always done the right thing. I don't know how else to word that. Second thing is, what is my return? Well, what we would need to do there is, in our case particularly, is to have exhibitions, have revenue from the exhibitions, and we're already talking to MoMA, we're talking to Musée Branly Jacques Chirac in Paris, we're talking to a number of others, and they're all got great interest. So we will share the benefit of the exhibitions The other thing is then you create interest that way, and then we'll sell 1 or 2 or 3 of the collections over time. And then as the values increase, obviously people can sell some of their tokens. And the other thing they can do is they will receive a dividend from the sales that we do eventually. And at the same time, they will also be participating in the overall private equity fund. So they will get their revenue that way. And then the last case, of course, is they can sell on the platform internally. And we will also be negotiating with your help to put it on exchanges where there can be a free transfer of sales. So that, I think, is the best way I can answer that. But the really important thing, of course, is, you know, I remember when I first started long, long ago, and I saw a little movie called Sam's Secret. And Sam was a salesman, and they explained to him that the secret of selling is see the people. And so that is the answer to the marketing, see the people.
That's a tough one in the age of Zoom and everybody being virtual. but yeah, no, that's a great point.
Just a very quick comment from my side to this question. So as Christian also mentioned that they build the Founders Club. So I think identifying the right target group is crucial, and building a strong community from that target group, and it's essential to build and nurture and maintain these relationships and the community itself. Just my takeaway is that always strive to exceed your promises. So try to under-promise and over-perform, and you will have the trust from the community. So I think that's very important.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah,
Yes,
if I can say something, may I say something on that? I would personally suggest to Pieter also to issue NFT, because these type of things are exactly covered by NFTs. Apart selling, okay, that is another story, but NFT of those piece of art are already an NFT value. So if you look into the market, it's even a huge value. So of course, it's very much complicated to, yeah, it's very much complicated to follow everything. But do not forget that, because once you have sold, that will become automatically. Imagine that a museum somewhere in Europe would buy one set of your art, it will be automatically becoming a piece of art. So you better make it an NFT already reserved now, that you will be holding the possibility to deal with them as well. Because otherwise they will be buying and they will make it, they will issue the NFT for themselves. So better you do it.
Yeah, and so that is a huge asset to then just give away. Yeah, thank you, Sergio. That's very, very useful.
Another little question from my side. I fully agree. I tell you, you should ask me why I decided to create a token without having nothing behind. Because Thomas, I think Thomas said something very interesting. I mean, I'm betting on the young guy who put €100 to buy a crypto that might be interesting for the future. Bitcoin, I was one of the first not buyer, because I was an idiot at that time, but I was involved in the blockchain already at that time. So I'm feeling so stupid now, because I was thinking to do it and never done it, because because I hate the money. But okay, but now I said, yeah, the automatic target is the guy who's investing €100 to buy the DEN token. Why? The DEN token is something related to climate change, and that is very top discussion in the world right now. So behind all my assets, there is climate change control. And that is one dedicated sector. So the farm is there, the posada, the week's vacation are this building, this posada is in a botanical garden. So 250 different type of plants and flowers. So you can imagine it's not a typical resort. It's just a botanical garden with some bungalow inside. So there are special things that I fully understand. I fully appreciate that we must emphasize something very special. I decide to go green because that I think is the future, to my opinion. For the rest,
Thank you.
I love also I love whiskey, by the way. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think we're all on that page.
Well, we don't have it here. I mean, here we drink cachaça, because caipirinha is the one where we drink most. But whiskey is something that I remember when I was still in Italy. Now I'm in Brazil. Okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. So there's one more topic before we finish the fireside chat. A question by Marcos, but the word was also mentioned by you, Pieter, and Tamas at least, and it's trust. And it's, you can have a regulatory framework, you can have everything, the technology working well, you can have amazing marketing, but in the end, the investor has to trust the issuer. And maybe that's something that's a constant, even compared to 10 years ago or hundreds of years ago. You always have to have that trust in the issuer, in the company that you're investing in. And so I guess an example given by Marcos was to you, Christian. How can investors ensure that the whiskey will be sent after the investment? So I guess the wider question is how do you create that trust on top of all the regulations and everything we've mentioned?
Yeah, and that's where the smart contracts come in. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, you would have, on a yearly basis, you would have somebody to audit, and it should be, a accredited auditor doing that. In this case, it would be, a Danish, I don't know what's called in English, but it's a Danish auditor. And then obviously, that's where the smart contract come in, because both the financial report and of course, are the barrels actually there, and how much is in them, and so on. And that has all to be confirmed by the auditor. And then with regards to the ownership, since they are in the FAER Distillery warehouse, the distillery might go might go bankrupt and so on. But there will be, I don't know what's called in English, but in Danish it's called tinglyst pant. Do you know what's that's called in English, Klaus? There will be some kind of collateral. There's a collateral in those barrels, and all those things are signed off by the auditor and then added on the notes on the smart contract, and so it will follow all the tokens issued for those particular casks. I mean, I think that's the best way you can do it without anybody knowing the company or face-to-face and all that stuff, but they at least can be a part of Danish regulations where all these things are in place. So it doesn't turn into a Ponzi scheme or something even worse than that, because it's easy to manufacture tokens of air barrels or air casks. So there has to be a system that has to be fulfilled that follows each coin every year. So the aftermarket or the secondhand trade also believes in this and say, okay, because we're talking about a long-term investment here, because you buy it in year 1 and in year 10, the value has substantially increased. So I think you need to have that own regulation around, and it has to be present somewhere in the smart contract, so it follows the coin. So if you have any red marks on the token, and you want to buy it, and then you obviously have to wait until all lights are green. I think that's the only way of doing it.
It's really interesting, and so yeah, the validity of the data is key, and in a lot of cases, you still need humans, trusted auditors and third parties and specialists on the asset to put their stamp of approval, even though blockchain is a new technology and can facilitate that data flowing back to the smart contracts, you still, in a lot of cases, need auditors and humans. I know, Sergio, you were talking about carbon credits, and we've had some conversations with some clients about that. And even there, you have these widely respected databases where they'll have an up-to-date information on the carbon emissions of a certain zone and measures, and so you need to still connect to that. I don't know if you have an opinion on the trust issue, Sergio, you wanted to add? Oh, sorry, you're muted.
Yeah, okay. No, that was the first problem I had in mind. So I've chosen a regulator company here, which is ABC Carbon, who gave me already the statement. Now that was the initial one. Now we have to invest, because that's rather huge, a lot of money. No, not so much, but it's a lot of money, to my opinion. We have to pay for the certification, because here in Brazil they certificate, and that means that they will take the responsibility if the carbon credit will be not given. I will be the one selling, but the fact that piece of Mata Atlantia will give, let me say, 137.5 carbon credit per hectare is not my opinion, it's their opinion. And that is registered, certificated, and stamped by the government. So this is already done. Why? That's easy to understand, because, as I told you before, Brazil is thinking in billions of reais value of the market carbon credit in Brazil. So it is the number one in the world concerning this. So for them, politically seen, it's a huge business for everybody. So from this point of view, I'm happy to be here, because this was simple for me to found the correct provider of statements, which is the ABC Carbon. And there are, look, but that's also, you should also think another thing, very interesting. Vera is an American company. I read recently there was a scandal because they confirmed the validity of carbon credit, which was fake, and that's very bad. Americans doing this, wow. I would expect, let me say here, I have nothing against Brazil, but I mean, in America, can't believe it, but they did it. Yeah, okay, so how to do it? I would say personally, present yourself. What I've done, one of my associates is botanical, is biologist. He will be seen, is known, so he will be presenting himself, and he will be making videos. We will do everything you to check for yourself. I am, let me say, I am a data digger. I'm a learner from the very beginning of the internet. We created, let me say, so thanks for my age, I was part of the Italian internet committee at that time. So we created the internet to spread the knowledge, but it's not used for more. It's not used for this. People are not using it for the truth, because you need something. It's on the internet. Just found it. So, and if you found one, found another 10, and compare, then you can have a clear vision of what you're doing. Otherwise, just one is maybe fake. So I would say that it's an interesting aspect that the regulations are covering, but also like Pieter, he has to present himself, and that's a good question. He has to do it because the people look at you, invite them, for example. So I told to my, let me say, investor, come to me. I pick you up. I bring you to my farm. I show you what we are doing. Because the people have to touch with their hand, with their feel. They must feel what the problem is of deforestation. For me, it's easy in this case, of course. But it's, I think that the personal involvement is very important.
Yeah, my feeling is, sorry.
Yeah,
so my feeling is also the same. So the blockchain technology only partially solves the trust issue.
Yeah.
But there are still personal trust issues, which you can only reduce by doing your own research, your own due diligence, search for the team, search for their experience, their background, how transparent are they in communication, check the smart contract behind the token, is it audited or not, is there any company behind the story or the project, check the company details, check the platform providers. So there are many different practices, but you need to do your own research beside the technology, to trust in the technology itself. So
the Americans have a great saying in Missouri: "Show me, don't tell me." And you know, the Missouri number plate also is "Show me," the show me state.
Show me.
Show me. I believe that
Show me. Show me state.
that is the question to us. Don't tell me, show me.
Show me. Yeah.
Those are all good points. And yeah, I guess, you know, we're reaching the end of the fireside chat. I don't know if any of you have anything that they wanted to add before we wrap up.
Oh, just to say,
I also thank you,
very
DigiShare.
Oh,
I also thank you,
appreciate that.
DigiShare as well, very much. And I personally think that DigiShare should also consider seriously. I think this is already done. Klaus, I think, has already talked something to me, that to add the function of exchange. You must be an exchange. I read already, but that is very important. That part is very important, because then you complete the platform for people like us who are creator of assets. They do everything in one platform. Otherwise, we have to jump on Coinbase. I don't want to go to Coinbase. I want to stay with my friend, because then it's a community, and that's great. This must be done.
So on the exchange side, there are three pathways. Either there's the marketplace within the white label, that's possible for you know, like a private marketplace. And I was just answering this in writing to Juan Pedro, actually, so maybe I can, you know, say more about it. So the first one is the sort of the white label marketplace. The second, and we're starting with real estate, is we're creating realestate.exchange. Is, you know, creating an open a venue for the trading of tokenized shares. But there's nothing preventing us in the future from doing the same for other asset classes. So that's the second part. Then the third is integrating with third-party exchanges.
Yes, that's also important.
Exchanges that we have nothing to do with, that are partners. Currently, we have a live integration with T0, which is an ATS in the US, but we're agnostic and open to adding more always. And I think, you know, you're right that if you're tokenizing and you can't trade, or it's difficult to trade, then there's missing something. We need to get the whole ecosystem needs to get the trading right for the real promise to come true of tokenization. So no, great point, and I appreciate we appreciate the feedback. Yeah, anybody else with final thoughts or comments? In that case, my turn to thank you, the speakers, first of all, and then also the listeners, of course. And we'll see you for the next DigiShares webinar. Bye, everyone.
Great.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Ciao.